Wash my hands in the muddy water.
I was getting on a lot of people's toes with all the information I had gathered that it could be dangerous to me. And he called me several times and told me, all in the run of about a month, that this was a problem and he feared for my life.
I met A.G. Walker in Louisiana. He was busy with a pile of documents, getting ready for an attorney. But let me start at the beginning. Texas was arguably won by Sam Houston in the Battle of San Jacinto. It resulted in our acquisition of Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, California, Utah, and parts of Colorado, Wyoming, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Wilson Strickland fought in the cavalry. His first cousin, Allen Vince, owned the bridge made famous in this battle. It was burned behind the Mexican army, blocking their retreat. Wilson Strickland was awarded 1,476 acres, the Strickland Survey, or the Conroe Field. Strickland, an avid musician, was last seen on tour somewhere in Mexico. He left the property to Allen Vince. Then the Civil War tore his family apart. He was survived by a sister, Sarah, who settled in Louisiana.
The land just went to the wind, I guess.
Enormous oil fields were discovered. Corporations quickly formed, assimilated, monopolies broken, names changed, and it went the way of a republic. They handed out trifles for quit-claim deeds, paralyzed landowners with long, drawn-out hearings, forged signatures, threatened to evict, and in a flood of documents quietly drained the state's resources in a form of despotism that has now enraged the entire world. To the feeding frenzy, the Strickland Survey was an easy mark and quite lucrative.
The field is over a salt dome, 3 miles by 5 miles, and the production is tremendous.
Humble Oil, today known as ExxonMobil, drilled 147 wells and started pumping oil without a title.
There's no way that I can lease your land to an oil company without your permission.
Since they didn't have a title, they went after every branch of the Strickland Vince tree. Rosanna was a relative of Allen Vince. Her voice now is forever quiet, but not her great-grandson.
I have over 52 letters from the oil companies to her. Please sign the power of attorney that we've sent and get it back to us. We can't do anything until you sign the power of attorney. One of the letters even went so far as to tell her that she would lose her rights if she did not sign. Adamantly, she refused.
In this letter, dated 1997, Exxon attorney Joseph White claimed she did sign.
Ford's signature, I mean, it's easy to look at it and tell it isn't her signature.
The Ford signature and Rosanna's actual signature from a 1929 land deed. Not even close. Oscar Yarborough, an employee of Humble Oil, married Sally Strickland. They were duped into signing a power of attorney and lost a considerable fortune. This is his deposition.
Do you recall, Oscar, ever having your wife sign a power of attorney?
Yes, her sister may have had the papers. She signed it and the back to her in Mississippi. That's the last I ever heard.
Do you remember talking to your wife about it or anything?
Yes, trying to make up my mind up what was right or what was wrong. What all this was about, you know.
You didn't know what it was about?
Sure did.
Did you go to an attorney?
No. Talking over both sides. But I didn't go there to get advice at that time, but we also busy making a living. We never had time to.
Well, one thing's for sure, ExxonMobil had the time and the resources, and they came up with some pretty original ideas.
The oil company very plainly said in one of their letters that there was very little escrow money that had been accumulated. They paid them off menial amounts of money from a multi-billion-dollar oil field. They paid off $40 and $50 quitclaim deeds. They paid off $300 and $400. One lady who was supposed to have received $1 million by legal calculation received $14.
ExxonMobil kept pressure on the heirs with their horde of lawyers. The same firms involved in the massive Enron fallout of 2002. Although you won't hear this on the news, Enron is a subsidiary of Exxon. They're being subpoenaed in New Guinea for paying off government officials. They were found guilty of illegal trade in the Sudan, refused to clean up spills or pay damages in Nigeria, and were caught bribing the jury during the Valdez trials. 15 years later, they still haven't paid a court-ordered settlement of $5 billion. Clearly, this pack of wolves doesn't operate in a forthright manner, and it never has.
S-S-O makes your car go. Happy motoring.
The Strickland Vince heirs never had their day in court. There were trials. The largest had 5,000 claimants, but a true heir was never found. Although I'm not an attorney, I managed to find several living, breathing heirs. Alan Vince had 3 sisters. Of these, we know Susan had no children. Sarah settled in Louisiana. Her son, James Tyson's daughter, Caledonia, married Huey Long Sr. One of their sons, Julius, got a law degree and went after Humble Oil. No one knows what happened. Over time, documents have surfaced. Apparently, he secured a secret 1/6 contract on the Strickland survey, with a 1/8 contract for the rest of the heirs, which never materialized.
The strange thing about these 2 contracts was the 1/6 contract was put on file within just a few days, and the 1/8 contract was put on record 4 years later.
The money flowed into Brother Huey Long's political machine. Huey Long, governor of Louisiana, and later senator, formed the Mineral Board in Louisiana with a built-in exploit.
We'll not destroy the profit system. We'll not destroy the capitalistic system. We won't destroy the Constitution of the United States. We won't destroy the Declaration of Independence. On the contrary, we'll make the Declaration of Independence read in the words it was written in.
The exploit still exists, well documented on this website. Huey Long was assassinated soon after the money started to flow. Standard Oil, another element of ExxonMobil, openly plotted to take him down. But Sarah had 2 sons. William Tyson's son, William Tyson Jr., had a daughter, Rosanna, who was alive at the time Humble Oil discovered the Strickland survey, was hounded by oil company attorneys her entire life, long after the purported forgery. Her daughter, LaBency, had many children. One of her sons, Arthur, was the father of A.G. Walker. I followed Mr. Walker to the courthouse in Conroe, Texas, collecting documents, family names, evidence. He'd been at it for 15 years. Every attorney who took the case backed down, for one reason or other. Some became ill or mysteriously wealthy, or simply refused to talk about it further. It's hard to go up against the biggest company in the world, a godless corporation with no direction but profit. Money has too easily corrupted our fledgling republic and put it at great risk. It was never intended to harbor an entity such as ExxonMobil. Must we go back to the Marquis de Sade to understand what democracy means?
You want to do a little bit of mansion on it?